In this video, I'm gonna take you behind the scenes on a beauty product photo shoot for my client, the Quick Flicks new brow range. Now, these are some of the images that I created for this campaign, and this was the feedback. Now, as a product photographer, receiving feedback like this honestly just makes my day because it's so nice to know that you did a great job and you pulled off the client's vision for the photo shoot, and it just makes you feel valued and appreciated. So for this campaign, we did 10 styled images and 4 e-commerce images, which basically entailed hand holding the product and some swatches. This was a full day shoot, and I did underestimate how long this would take me. But at the end of the day, I am just so stoked with the results. And sometimes we do underestimate how long a project is actually going to take us. And you might feel like, oh, I really wish I charged more. But at the end of the day, if you come out with a portfolio of work that you are just so proud of, that you can add to your portfolio, that actually moves your creative business forward because it's going to attract new business, it's worth it. All right, so you've seen the photos. Now let's go behind the scenes where I'm going to show you my lighting setup. So for this lighting setup, I am using 2 different lights and they both have gels on them. So on the right-hand side, we have a light with a pink gel. And then on the left-hand side, we have a light with a purple gel. So what this is giving me is a nice kind of like edgy look. And this is what the client's going for, is not something that looks like overly flat, something more edgy, colorful, something more interesting. So that's why we're using gels. And that's what gels can do. They can help to add more visual interest to your images. Now, a colored backdrop is going to help to bring out the color of the gels, as opposed to if you're using white or like a lighter colored backdrop. So I prefer using darker colors that are more saturated because it can really just punch that color through in your photo. Now, I've got a scrim here because what I'm finding is that without this, with just the bare bulb, I'm getting some yucky light reflections on my products. And while I can probably Photoshop this out in post-production, which I might try anyway, I think sometimes light reflections can look nice because they're natural. So we'll see what happens in post. But essentially, I'm going to be taking 2 photos, one with the scrim and one without, so that I can composite the photo with the scrim onto the photo without, because I want more of a harder shadow on my background. And so this is what my scene is looking like up close. I'm using a pink mirror here that is basically reflecting back onto the background. So just again adds a nice little visual interest touch to the image. And we're keeping things very simple. I'm using a glass surface with a purple vinyl backdrop underneath. All right, let's go behind the scenes on this next photo. Now, this scene took me quite a while to style. Here's a little sped up version of me putting everything together. I think I was actually sitting here for a good 25 minutes, just trying to get everything absolutely perfect. So again, I'm using a glass surface with a vinyl backdrop underneath because this is going to create a really beautiful reflection on my surface, and it just gives that photo that more edgier, more visually interesting look. And what I was trying to do with this product is pull it all apart so that different features of the product could be showcased in the one photo. So for this lighting setup, what I've done a little bit differently is I have moved the light with the pink gel from the right to the very back of the scene. So you can see it's coming right over my backdrop and pointing down at the products. I've placed it here because I want my shadows to come from the back. So I want them to be in front of the products. Because of the way the products are styled, I think this would look really cool. It's a bit more edgy rather than like front lighting the products. Now, so there is some illumination on the front of my products. I have moved my light on the left here just a little bit more in front of the scene so that it's illuminating the front, not so more from the side. Overall, the styling has taken me a while to get this right. When you place your camera, so because I'm shooting at a high angle, it's about perspective. So even when I placed the products down initially, I've had to kind of tweak them as I move along because of perspective of where my camera angle is. If I were to move my camera, lower it, raise it, I would have to shift the products again due to perspective. So I'll show you what I mean. So a quick side-by-side comparison. The photo on the left is pretty much where I started from when I started to shoot the scene, and the photo on the right is the final image. You can see the difference in spacing between the products. I've also moved things around a little bit. The photo on the right feels more balanced. Everything just kind of works nicely together in terms of how the products are placed compared to the photo on the left. Overall, this lighting setup again has created a nice edgy look for this scene, and I absolutely love it. Now, if you would love a full breakdown of the Photoshop edits for some of these photos, as well as how I approach the swatches for this image right here, you're gonna find a full case study for this campaign inside Become a Brand Photographer. I also walk you through the pre-production and a bit more of like the process from start to finish. And if you would love a free taste of the course, you can go ahead and watch my masterclass where I take you behind the scenes on how I created this image right here. I walk you through my lighting setup, camera settings, and how to add more visual interest. Plus, I also talk about my 7 top tips for booking clients as a product photographer. It's totally free if you want to watch it, and I know that you're going to get a lot out of it, so I will leave that link in the description box below. Now, when it came to planning the shoot, the client wanted to go for a more edgier look, which I was totally on board with. So the client showed me some inspo, and I knew immediately that we had to bring out the pink and purple gels to create that more interesting, edgier, moodier look. So this was a previous campaign that I worked on for the brand about a year and a half ago now. And you can see the look is very like sunny, bright. I would say it definitely doesn't have like an edgy or moody vibe to it. Whereas you compare it to this shoot here, this is more of a level up, and this is more interesting and eye-catching. And the thing is that you see this style everywhere now. That bright, hard light look, which, look, don't get me wrong, I love it. It still looks great. I love creating that kind of content. But I love when my clients are willing to shake things up and try a different style that is normally outside of their normal aesthetic. And I want to quickly touch on something, because honestly, something that I see now as a product photographer is this style. A lot of people's work is looking same, including mine. And so something that I have been working on this year is shaking up my style yet again, making sure that I'm creating unique work that looks different, and also work that pushes me to a new creative edge, because that's when you stand out, when you create work that looks different to what everyone else is doing. So here's the full gallery of images from the latest campaign for the Quick Flick. I am so stoked with the results and the overall look that we went with. I think these are going to be so eye-catching for the brand. So I hope you enjoyed this behind the scenes look. And like I said, if you want the full case study on this campaign, it's inside Become a Brand Photographer. If you have any questions, leave a comment, let me know, let's have a chat. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.